Hey you guys, we have another set of soul crystal events going on. The first being the soul engraving bonus, which for anybody who doesn't have level 80 soul engraving, I would just finish this. Um, the game is really helping you and trying to get you to level 80 soul engraving, and I think in this case, you should just let it, because um, your soul engraving bonus is really important. Um, um, some people say, oh, I'm just going to exchange for some whips and then do part of the soul engraving bonus. And I think, while that's like a creative idea and yeah, whips will give you a ton of gem packs usually, or at least for, the past few whip events, that's how it's worked. But honestly, I think it's better to just finish the soul engraving, mainly because soul engraving is really important for your crit stat. For anybody with crit, it's the main source of crit is in your gems. So getting as good of a bonus as you can is really important. Um, Soul engraving puts bonuses on everything that you choose to put in your gear, which is usually stats that you really care about. Um, so I think even though mount whips are really important and give huge BR, um, mount whips also are very specific to one stat. And so if you don't have a ton of them, you're mostly probably just going to focus on your main attack stat. Whereas I think soul crystals give really nice balanced BR and really help that crit rate. You don't want to let your crit stat fall behind your BR, or else your crit rate will not be fantastic. Um, Even for me, I'm feeling a little bit concerned about my crit stat. It's 12k, which is great. I don't actually think it's as good as it could be. But I didn't make any level 9 gems. I have all level 8 gems. But the first thing I will bother to do, should I make level 9 gems soon, is as I'm going to do the crit ones to make sure that my crit rate is keeping up with my BR. You do need the more BR you have, the more crit you need in order to maintain a decent rate. Okay, so with that said, I'm doing the soul engraving, not the soul engraving, the soul crystal exchange. My soul engraving is maxed out, which is the case for many players now. Um, and uh, and so yeah. Another thing I get asked about sometimes when people see the videos is, Elia, where's all your stuff? The simple answer is I send it all to mail. So right now, even for this video, I sent the vast majority of my vault, except for some runes and some whips from the end of the gem event that I didn't get into my vault. Into my mailbox the first round. And I sent the first 2 pages of my bags, which were mostly like a page of clickable things, roses, bounty scrolls, EXP scrolls, etc. And then a page full of where I put my pots and scrolls, luck stones, and a couple other things. And then my third page is my gems and some sylph materials, but I'm actually just gonna leave that there. I think I have enough space at this point to do this event. So yeah, all of that gets sent to my mail. I don't understand why my mail button is being so laggy. Everything else seems to be behaving, except for this button. Do not understand. Oh, Wartune. Okay, so yep, I keep a bunch of my materials in my mailbox for when I do these videos, so it's nice and organized for you guys, and I don't have to click all over the place and worry about missing something. So I'm a little bit OCD about that type of thing, but I think it helps with the videos. Um, so I'm gonna pull out these soul crystals in a moment. As far as the exchange goes, um, I will still get some whips. You saw about 5k or so in my vault there, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 6 is 11. Okay, so I have 11 of these, and I'm pretty sure there are 5k in each one. So I'm looking like I already have 60k mount whips. That gem event recently was really ridiculous, gave fantastic rewards. So I have all of these mount whips. And so I think as far as the exchange goes, I still want to get some mount whips. I don't think with 60k, well, I will get very close to maxing out my strength stat. I'll show you guys my mount in a moment. But in this exchange, it's gold, whips, or runes, and I think I'm going to get some runes this time. I do not recommend the runes to people who do not have at least the main stats in their mount maxed out. Um, so I'm talking about intel, armor, and endurance, or strength instead of intel for archers and for knights. So I'm very close. Well, I've gotten some new mounts, and um, so I do have some room to put more whips into my intellect and armor. And then I didn't quite cap out my endurance last time, but I'm very close. So I'll definitely get all of those this time. I don't think that's going to require a ton of whips. And then strength, I think it'll take quite a bit because this stat is not developed at all for obvious reasons. So yeah. I still think I want to get some more whips, but I do have some room for runes, and I think it's worth maybe talking about runes for a second. Um, if you don't have your main attack stat, endurance, and armor maxed out in your mount, do not go crazy with runes in the exchange. Get whips. It's fantastic. You'll get lots of gems back. You'll get um, you get more whips back. So you get huge BR, you get a bunch of gems, and we've recently learned that the gem event is now positively ridiculous, and so that is a great place to reward hunt. I'm personally cutting back on caching now, which is pretty miserable if you see um, the video on refining Panta Medusa that I just did, because I just dropped like 50k balance on self skills, which I'm not totally happy about. So that's gonna set me back a bit, but at least it's done and over with. But uh, I am going back to school for the first time in a few years, and so I have some expenses there. I'm also just not able to play as much, so I don't want to be investing as much of my money into it either. Um, but that said, I want to go reward hunting, so that means big time hoarding, making sure that I'm trying to save up for any events physically possible. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. As far as runes go, I really want to max out this Guardian rune. It's at level 5 already. Um, all I do with my League insignias is get advanced runes, um, and then uh, and then try to max this out. The last time there was a rune event, I had like 1,000 runes. I opened up my TOK chest for the first time in forever. I had hundreds of them, and so I was able to exchange 5 to 1, 5 regular rune stones for one advanced one, and I kicked this guardian rune up a bunch. It's actually not that hard to level with league insignias, because you get a decent chunk of them at the end of the week, especially if you get into the diamond or gold group, um, and but I think I want to raise my chaos. Amnesia, I'm kind of not in love with anymore. I did use it in a couple of class wars. I think I'm going to give it up now. I haven't committed to maxing it out to level 10, but chaos I definitely want to get to 9 or 10. It's a really great group arena rune, and group arena now the rewards are very good. So I think that's an important place to improve, as well as I know that something called like something along the lines of Chaos Wars or something like that, which is basically like a similar setup to a crossover competition like Class Wars, except with uh, it's like arena with 4 versus 4 teams, and so I think a Chaos Rune will be really important there. So my two main group arena or group battle runes would then be Guardian and Chaos, and then for single target or single PvP, I probably will still stick with Guardian and Heal. Um, so I think getting some regular rune stones is not a bad idea to work on this Chaos, and then I'll still commit my League insignias to improving my advanced Guardian rune. Um, I don't really know what I'm doing number-wise here. I have a ton of soul crystals, as we said, so we should probably collect those. Again, why does this mail button take so long? It's just baffling. Alright, so I'm going to start with these pages that are full of them and just do select all and collect items. So it'll collect all those and I can delete these. So select all, collect, and delete. I think one more full page, and delete. And so let's see here, another 3. Anybody else have soul crystals? Alright, I think we're good to go. Alright, so that's a lot of soul crystals. Almost 2 full pages. So I can actually go look at the soul crystal exchange. So I have 106k, or almost 107k, soul crystals. So pretty much anything I do here, it's gonna be fine. Because I have that kind of wiggle room with it. So I don't totally know what I want to do here. What I think I'm going to do is just collect a bunch of whips first and make sure I have a decent number of those. I'm thinking I probably want at least 70k whips. So so 10k whips here would be good. I think it would cost me. So you have to go by tens, but it would cost me 50,000 soul crystals in order to get 10k back, 10k whips back. So I think that's fine, and then I can start thinking about runes. But since I have about 60k whips, maybe I'll just do half in whips for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and use an auto clicker on that and keep an eye on it. We'll see if I can manage to do a fast forward on this, but with the Soul Crystal Exchange, I always have a little bit of a struggle here just because it's so much collection, and sometimes my my browser or just the game starts to get upset with me if I do it too fast. So we'll see. So yeah, let's just start out with Soul Crystals, and just go for it. Alright, you guys, so I've collected or exchanged for a little over 10k Mount Whips, so thinking that might be good. Not totally sure here. Let me think. Move that one out. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, so 7 across. Okay, so exactly 15k here. And do want to get some rune stones. Let's do a quick look at my mount stats. So just looking at these, I can tell just like from a feel, I won't be able to max out strength. I don't think I'll be able to do it. Not with 70k, but you know what? There's that return also. So if I train 70,000 mount whips next event, I'll have what? Another 14k mount whips back. So that's 84k, and that's probably still not enough for strength. That strength stat is really, really low. So yeah, maybe I want a bunch of runes. That's something that I definitely want. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and gather up some runes, kind of see where my runes are at. So actually, what I can do is I took my runes out. I think I should just start upgrading the chaos rune, see how much I need, and see what I have to work with. So I can actually just consume all of these because this isn't enough for the next level. These ancient runes, so the rage rune, chaos, and amnesia are incredibly expensive. So an exchange like this is really, I mean, going just by tanks and stuff is not going to cut it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use an auto clicker. It was really fussy when I was trying to auto click and record at the same time. Um, but we'll see. So I'm just going to exchange for a bunch of these and keep a really good eye on how many I'm doing. Just because, let me see if I can get the number. Okay. Um, uh, just because I don't want to use up too many, and also these exchange. It's the same rate, so it's still 5 soul crystals for 1 runestone, like it is for 5 soul crystals for 1 whip, but you have to use 100 soul crystals at a time, so that'll actually add up more quickly. So I want to keep an eye on it, but let's just start this up, see how it goes. If you guys are wondering where I got all these soul crystals, a lot of them were from the last Mount Whip event. That's usually where I get most of them. But there's another huge amount of soul crystals that I got because I opened up those TMK chests that I was talking about earlier. And now let's hear any complaints about the plugin. It needs to catch up with it, but anyway, I'll be back shortly and see if we can't upgrade these runes a little. Alright, so I've left myself about 30k soul crystals to work with in the exchange, just in case. But I have almost 4,300 runestones, which is going to be great. Let's see here. So here's the chaos. So I'm just going to, I guess I can put enough in. 400. Come on. So that'll be enough. And that'll get me to 195. Yeah. Okay. So actually pretty close. Oh, I have enough. What am I talking about? Let's just do 2,000. Probably do this math in my head, but it's okay. No. All right. So now I have a. Okay, yeah, I got 4,000 EXP. Okay, so that's level 7. That's still pretty good. So targets have a 65% chance to be unable to tell enemies and allies apart. Deals 100 damage, but that's what you get at like level 2. So yeah, looking pretty good. 50-second cooldown, 2 turns. I mean 2 uses. Say how many turns it lasts. It's interesting. Why doesn't the description? It used to say that, didn't it? That it lasted like 3 turns or 2 turns. That's a bit odd. Okay, so I need a little bit more for if I want to go to level 8. But I'm not sure I totally want to do that. I'm very hoardy about being able to make sure that I can get enough rewards from unlimited events. I definitely want to get close to maxing out my strength this time.
I want to be able to get as many gem packs as possible. So my instinct is to say, okay, I want as many mount whips as possible, and to make sure I can max out my whips. I mean, the worst comes to worst, I will have the next event, but I just don't want to funnel too many resources into runes, because runes don't give me anything back. If I make runes, that's resources in this chain of unlimited events that I don't get back. So maybe I'll just leave it there, you guys. At least as far as the exchange goes, and I'll show you how I go about the moving of stuff over to mail. I have shown this before, but maybe it's worth showing again. And this time I'm actually just logged into the my Guildmaster's account to show this. So I put 15k of these mount whips into my vault. Each one of these mail items in your mailbox has 5 slots. Really, this mail button is just not cooperating today. Okay, so let me see if I can open one of these up just fine. Okay, so I have 5 sets of luck stones, and I'm happy to open this one up because I'll move it back into my bags after this video. But okay, so there are 5 slots, so I tend to try and think in terms of 5 or less. I do like to categorize, so I like to put all of one type of item into my mailbox. That way, when I send it to mail, you'll see the little icon on the left, and you'll be able to tell what's inside of your bags. So that's where I put it. And then, as far as for guild masters or for officers, and when you have players asking you, oh, will you help me move things to mail and kick them? I find the most efficient way to go about this is to sort by members and make sure that it goes starting from, well, I guess numbers start first, but from basically A to Z. So you want to start at A, and there's a specific reason for that. I don't know why, but once you kick somebody, the list won't retain its alphanumeric order if you list from the end of the alphabet to the beginning. So start from the beginning and go to the end, and then scroll down, find your player. Oops, a little too far. Maybe Iliatan. Okay, so there I am, right? And I can click on my name and get a PM box open. And in the PM box, there's a little guild invite button. So the easiest way to do this is, one, make sure that they have all of their contribution used. I've kicked myself before doing this video, so I don't really have any contribution right now. But I just click on my name, and I'm all set to go. If they still have a bunch of contribution left, so like if Draken were to ask me and he has 4,200 contribution left, I would just say, hey, go spend your contribution, because once you get kicked, you lose all of that. But I'm all set to go, so I'm just going to remove myself and confirm, and then immediately send myself a guild invite through the PM. So then when I go back into my own box, I can just immediately join. And it just makes things easier for people and makes things really efficient. There you go with this mailbox again. And so now you see I have 3 of these mail items, and each one is going to have 5 stacks of whips inside, which is just fantastic. So this is how I keep things organized. I do think it will become less relevant, especially for a lot of players, especially people who don't keep a lot of like individual nonsense. Like for me, I stack my gems a particular way. There's a way to condense these by just by converting. I also keep everything from level 2 pots. Just tend to like save everything, even though half of it's, well, I mean, most of it I don't use on a daily basis. But it's a nice way to keep things organized. And if you do have big stacks of stuff, so like definitely the bigger players, bigger cashers, you end up hoarding a lot more of these materials like whips and soul crystals. And so even after we get 9,999 in each one of the stacks, it still might be a necessary thing for you to have more space and be able to move some stuff into your mailbox. And so that's to me the best way to go about it. And once I figure out what I want to do as far as the exchange goes, with the rest of these soul crystals, the 30,000 that I still have, maybe I'll let you guys know in a blog post or something like that. But yeah, I definitely think that at least some of them I have to still get whips. I really want to do well the next Mount Whip event so that I can do super well in the next gem event like I did last time. I do have, actually, what I showed in the video and what I showed in the blog was not correct. By the very final, last like couple of hours of the gem event, I ended up with 90 extra level 8 gems, and so I'm super pleased with that event. So yeah, when you're thinking about what you want to exchange or what you want to do with events, just make sure that you are helping yourself get more rewards the coming events. So runes are really important, and they're really attractive to people, and I know they want to be able to get all that stuff, but BR is more important. Runes will come, and I think League insignias are a great way to get runes as well. So you have an extra income there, so you don't have to worry as much through the exchange. I think this is more an option for people who are capped on using their mount whips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry it was a little bit glitchy, but yeah, I'm glad we got to kind of review over how to do things for the mailbox and do a nice little exchange. So I hope you guys all made out well with this event. I imagine many did, and have a very good day.